Hi guys, welcome back to George Reads once again, where today we are reading Chapter 1 of Slime by David Williams. Yesterday I posted a book reveal of Slime and how I met David Williams. He's right up there, see? And how I met him at the book signing for Thing and the Ice Monster. I've got both books now. You probably can't see them on the bookshelf, but they're there. And this is the newest edition of the David Williams' books. So I thought I would read it to you for the third book in my channel. And let's read Chapter 1 of Slime. Chapter 1, Mulch. The little Isle of Mulch was home to less than 1,000 people, 999 to be precise. I told you it was less than 1,000. One of these 999 people was a boy named Ned. Ned wasn't short for anything. He was just called Ned. Ned was 11 years old. He'd been born on Mulch and, like most islanders, had never left. To say Ned was just an ordinary boy would be wrong. He wasn't ordinary. He was extraordinary. Ned had been born with legs that didn't work. He couldn't walk at all, so was found a battered old rusty wheelchair and he learned to use it. The boy could often be seen whizzing around the island, doing stunts and wheelies to delight his friends. "I got the zoomies!" he would cry as he whizzed past. Home for Ned was a tiny, weather-beaten old cottage. The cottage perched on the edge of a cliff, overlooking the raging sea that surrounded the island. From dawn till dusk, Ned's mother and father were out of the house at work. Dad was a fisherman, so was away at sea all day on his fishing boat. Mum sold the fish that Dad caught at the island's market. The only fish you could catch around the Isle of Mulch were called shoefish. They were fish shaped like shoes. Something like this. They tasted like shoes too. The overriding flavour was foot sweat, but the locals became used to the taste, disgusting though it was. They had no choice. Needless to say, both Ned's parents absolutely stank of fish. But Ned didn't see or even smell much of them, as the pair were always working. Instead, the boy was left home alone with his older sister. Jemima resented Ned deeply. She might have been the older one, but it was her younger brother who got all the attention. The girl wore a pretty little flowery dress with huge steel-capped boots, as she wasn't afraid to use them. Ned's aunt owned the Isle of Mulch. She was his mother's much older sister, and her name was Greta Greed. High on a hill overlooking the whole island squatted Kitty Litter Castle, a huge medieval fortress that the lady called home. It was a world away from the tiny cottage that Ned shared with his family. Greed lived there alone, which is how she liked it. Her only company was her 101 cats. These cats were fearsome beasts. She had them to scare nasty little children away. The lady loathed children, especially her poor nephew, Ned. Aunt Greta never ever did a thing to help him. For her, children ruined her Isle of Mulch with their games, their chatter, and most of all, their stench. Aunt Greta should be the last person to complain about a smell, as she stank of cat pee. Because Aunt Greta owned the entire island, she had power over all those who lived there. The lady rewarded those grown-ups on Mulch who detested children almost as much as she did. One such man was Sir Walter Ralph. He was a nasty old wretch whom Greed had made headmaster of the only school on the island, Mulch School for Revolting Children. The only thing that gave Ralph pleasure was expelling children from his school. Like so many others, Ned had suffered that fate. There was one toy shop on the island. Greed had given care of it to twin brothers. Edmund and Edmund Envy had named the shop Envy's Emporium. But it was nothing more than a front for terrorizing children. Ned had had a particularly nasty time when he'd last visited. Another resident of Mulch was Madame Solenzio Sloth. The lady was supposed to be a piano teacher, but she was too lazy to teach children anything. Sloth was a virtuoso of cruelty. Ned had the misfortune of being one of her pupils, and when he dared to complain, all hell broke loose. Captain Pride was an uptight ex-soldier whom Grid had appointed Mulch's park keeper. The captain ensured no one could ever enjoy the island's only public park, especially not little people like Ned. Ice cream sellers, Glenn and Glenda Glutton, made sure children never got to enjoy an ice cream ever. The married couple zoomed around the island in their van, looking for children to rob. They took their pocket money and then sped off without giving them their ice cream. If the Gluttons had lived anywhere else in the world other than Mulch, they would have been locked up in prison and the key thrown away. However, Greed delighted in their scam and assured the pair were never brought to justice, even when they stole from her own nephew Ned. So, this little island was home to a large number of horrible grown-ups. But there was a child on the island who was probably as bad. Poor Ned was related to her. It was his sister. And that's the end of chapter 1. This chapter was incredibly short for such a long book. It looks like I'm going to be doing a lot of videos on this book, so but that means there's more of it to enjoy. If you haven't seen any of my previous videos, I suggest you go check them out. They're going to be great, and I promise you'll love them. And if you do enjoy them, please leave a like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated, and it helps the channel loads. But for now, thank you for watching, and goodbye until the next episode.